And now let's talk about the ongoing Iran crisis. And to get you a rounded perspective on this, I'm joined by Mr. D.P. who is the former Indian ambassador to the Islamic Republic of Iran. Good afternoon, sir. Thank you so much for joining us here on DD India NewsHour. Well, to talk about
Good
it,
afternoon.
Iran has said that it is ready for war, but it is also open to negotiations as well after Trump's warnings. What is it that Iran is expecting from the US in order to agree to a common solution?
Iran had made clear earlier also that they are prepared to go back to the nuclear deal, which was agreed by the US by President Obama in 2016. US had walked out of this deal in 2018 under President Trump's first administration. During the second administration, negotiations were resumed, but just a day before the sixth round, Israel attacked Iran. Now, if there is a possibility of resuming negotiations, this must be welcome, because a war or military intervention is not in the interest of any side. We must remember that this region has seen very challenging times since Hamas attack on Israel, which must be condemned in 2023. And Gaza situation remains unsettled. Lebanon situation and Syria situation is still uncertain. And if there's uncertainty also in Iran, this might affect oil prices, because unlike Gaza war or war in Lebanon, Iran sits next to the Persian Gulf, which accounts for 17 to 20% of world's oil supply. So it is hoped that both sides will opt for negotiations to bring down the temperature instead of heading for a military confrontation.
But Trump has meanwhile also announced a 25% tariff on countries doing business with Tehran. Iran is already a crippling economy. We know the fact. Will this mount the needed pressure on Iran, or is it just going to be another roadblock in ensuring peace?
You are right. Iran is under such heavy sanctions that another set of sanctions are not going to make any difference, because the basic issue is oil. And Iran gets its revenues through oil exports, which are already under sanctions. So this is not going to make much difference. It's just a part of President Trump's technique of maximum pressure, of ratcheting up pressure. So let's see.
Right, and we are hoping for a common resolution to it. But on the other side, US fighter jets have increased activity at the Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar, and the presence of US military bases across West Asia is also very large, which means in case of anything addressed as a war, the situation can be really damaging for both the sides, isn't it?
You're absolutely right. And Iran has made clear that unlike the previous two occasions, when they gave advance warning to the US, this time they will hit at US bases, and US does have a very extensive presence, and I'm not sure how President Trump looks at this. In the past, he has avoided taking American casualties.
And now looking ahead, what do you think? Because there are negotiation possibilities which can take place between both the countries. But as a matter of fact, we are getting the constant numbers of all the deaths from Tehran and across Iran. What do you see? How do you see the latest possibility unfolding for a common solution on peace talks?
There are two different issues. One is Iran's internal situation, and as you mentioned, there are riots. Have been riots, and there's a genuine grievance because of the shortage of essential commodities. Iran is an oil exporting country, and sanctions have throttled its economy. Hence the shortages and the popular anger. But this is should be dealt by Iranian people and the Iranian government. So far as the external aspect is concerned, which is linked to the wider Middle East situation and previous confrontation between Israel and Iran, I think it is best that both sides step back from the precipice. I might mention that, in the oil prices have already started climbing in last
Right.
5 days. $1 increase in price of oil adds 14,000 crores to India's annual oil import bill. So this is not in the interest of any country. And incidentally, it's not simply a question of Iranian oil. Oil is a fungible commodity. So if there's a confrontation and Hormuz Strait accounts for 17% of world oil supply, there is no replacement for oil on such a large scale, and any escalation will not be simply limited to oil exporting countries from this region, but it will affect the entire world economy.
And hence dialogue and diplomacy remains the key. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us and getting us the much needed rounded perspective on the ongoing protests in Iran.